Hello and welcome to the first marketing mix of the year. Happy New Year to everybody. I am planning on some great sessions this year, and if you've got a marketing expert that you want to hear from, let me know because I will do my best to grab them and get them onto the marketing mix. If you've been with me for a while, you'll know how much I love email marketing. So when I asked Matt from Constant Contact to join me today, and he said yes, I actually did a little dance because I was so excited. Matt is my go-to person at Constant Contact. He knows everything. So when I'm stuck for an answer, he's the person. We've got our own Facebook group for Constant Contact partners, and he's the person who invariably gives us the in-depth responses. So I'm so happy to have him here today. He says cloudy Orlando, but I think it's probably nicer there than it is here. So I'm just going to hand over to Matt and let him introduce himself and Constant Contact.
Well, thank you for having me, and Happy New Year to you and to everybody watching. Yes, I am based in Orlando, Florida. I'm one of the few employees at Constant Contact in the States that is not in New England. They are all bemoaning cold weather and dreariness. Here, it is a chilly 48 degrees, which for Central Florida is mighty cold. I have been with Constant Contact. I'm now in my 11th year. I can't believe it. I've known you 7-8 years now.
I know, it's crazy.
It's incredible. But I've had a remarkable journey at Constant Contact. My job, for the most part, is to teach people how to better leverage email marketing and marketing in general. I was lucky enough for the first 5 years of my employ to travel the world on behalf of Constant Contact, primarily in the States, going to over 46 states here, meeting and teaching nearly 13,000 small business and nonprofits, and getting to know their pains and their joys and helping them overcome marketing challenges. So it's an absolute pleasure to join you today.
Oh, amazing. So I talk about Constant Contact all the time. You know that I use it. I always have plenty of questions for you, but I talk about how important email marketing is for small business. But I'd like to hear from you. Why? Because there's such a big focus on social media and all the new networks that are coming up and stuff. Why is email marketing such an important tool for small business?
You know, I'll take everybody back 11 years ago when I first started. And this story may be in line with your personal story. When I first started, everybody was talking about how email marketing was soon to be in the rubbish heap because social media was going to take over. And here we are, a decade later, still talking about the value of email marketing. And ultimately, that value is driven by the way that people give you their email address. When somebody submits their email address, when they give you permission to email them, there is a very powerful connection there that a lot of people don't really think about. You know, not to besmirch social media. Social media absolutely has a role in small business marketing, but I'd be willing to bet that everybody watching today, you followed somebody on social media, followed a business on social media, connected to a business on Twitter, etc., in an almost transitory experience. So I like them, I'll follow them. Or maybe you were just trying to get a little bit of information. It's not the same as email marketing, because when you submit your email address to a small business, you're making a commitment that's a very different experience than social media or any other kind of marketing, because you are aware that you're going to get email and you're aware that you're giving them permission to email you. What I like to frame that is it's the first yes. So if we're in a small business, right, obviously you're trying to sell people. If you're a nonprofit, well, you're trying to solicit for donations and volunteers and things like that. Regardless, that first yes is really important because other yeses can follow that path, right? And the way I like to frame it is that people that give you email addresses are pre-sold on you. They already know the value proposition of what you bring. They already know what you offer. They already are interested. And it's a matter of just encouraging them to take that next step. Another way to look at it is perhaps they have already been literally sold. They've already bought something from you. They've already bought a service from you. They've already donated to you. Well, encouraging further behavior not only increases, obviously, revenue, but increases the stickiness of that customer, of that volunteer, of that donor. And the additional step, the real power of email marketing is not just the value that contact brings you, but the continued behavior that they may engage with in an email. If we think about it, that person's giving you their email address. There's that first yes, and then they get an email from you and they click a link in that email. That is a real commitment. Everybody is starved for time. And when they click on a link in an email, well, they're giving you something really powerful, because now you're starting to convert them. Now, that conversion may not occur today. That conversion may not occur for a month or a year, but you're starting to convert them. Additionally, and most importantly and most powerfully, you're learning that that person was interested in that product, in that service, in that feature. And that kind of information is invaluable now.
It's so true. And I say this to whenever I talk about email marketing, people want instant results. But one of my clients, before she started working with me, she was on my email list, I think, for about 3 years before she actually bought something from me. Mm-hmm. And it's about that kind of, she would read stuff, she would send me emails, making suggestions for content that she would be interested in, and eventually bought from me. So it is that. And I think for people like me that sell to other businesses, you are kind of in it for the long haul. It's not as quick as, selling a candle or selling some chocolate or something like that, which are sometimes quite, they're impulse buys. So it's definitely, and I love it's the first yes. I've never actually thought of it that way, but that's a brilliant way to put it. So I can see a few more people have joined. If you have any questions for Matthew, please pop them in the comments and I'll ask them as we go along. But I mean, I've got some of my own, so I'm going to bowl on and ask Matthew a couple of my own questions. So the next thing is about how small business owners can make email marketing actually an integral part of what they do in their marketing. It should be, for me, it should be right there, front and center. So what are your tips?
Well, let's go back to the comment I just made, which is that first yes. So you certainly are not going to convert customers. You're certainly not going to convert prospects. You're certainly not going to get donations. You're certainly not going to get all of the power of email marketing if you don't start. So, I mean, the first step is beginning. I know that sounds a little silly, but you have to realize how valuable email marketing can be and take that step. But in terms of where do you go from there? Well, certainly you want to make sure that you are soliciting for email addresses anywhere you can. That can be websites, that can be through social media, that can be anywhere that you are going to potentially engage with a subscriber. Also, make sure that anytime you're interacting with a customer, you're asking for their permission to email them, and getting those contacts so that you can email them. What I tend to see with organizations that are just beginning this journey is that they get concerned, confused, overwhelmed. The magic of email marketing is relationship building. To your point, you said that, as a small business owner yourself trying to work with other businesses, you may not see a conversion for 3 years. So how in the world do we market to somebody that might take some time? Well, it's all about top of mind, right? So when I talk to small businesses and they're new to this, new to marketing in general, and they let that fear or being overwhelmed or time starved or whatever the case may be, I worry for them, because if they are sacrificing marketing, especially email marketing, because of all these other reasons, well, what they're doing is they're certainly not gaining quick conversions, because some people will get an email and they will call you. Some people will get an email and they will visit you. Mm-hmm. But what you're really losing is those people that will take a while to convert. I always talk to nascent marketers about the sales cycle. Everybody is in a different part of the sales cycle. Mm-hmm. Some have an immediate need for what somebody is offering. They're in the market right now. They see an advertisement. They take advantage. But most people aren't. And so it is going to take a little while to convert a typical prospect. If you're not marketing regularly and you're not building relationships with them, what you're doing is you're losing that top of mind focus. Yep. You want to stay on top of mind so that when that need arises, you're the first one they think of. And that's the most important lesson I guess I can share with everybody today, in terms of if you're just starting out, you, I don't know if this is an Americanism, but you have to be in it to win it. You have to engage. You have to do it, because if you don't, you're losing all that value that we talked about earlier, about how each subscriber brings value. That's the first yes. You're losing all of that ability the longer you wait to engage with email marketing. And certainly if you do it piecemeal and you start off real strong and then you just kind of dither off and stop regularly producing.
And I will say, I tell this story when I talk about email marketing. When I started my business, I decided I was going to email every week. And I started with a list of 0. So my first email went to me and my husband because I knew I just had to do it. I just had to do it. And when I don't know if everyone's watching knows, but I used to work at Constant Contact in the UK. But when I worked there, my job was not email marketing. It was marketing Constant Contact in the UK, but it was not email marketing. So actually getting to the nitty gritty of doing it was quite difficult for me, in and amongst everything else as well, because I'd never done things like social media. I didn't know how to manage a website. I had to learn all of those things. But to Matthew's point, if you don't get started, you won't know the power of it. So it's definitely a good thing to do, is just create that first email and hit send, even if it is just to you and your husband. He unsubscribed though. I was really bruised by that. Eventually he said, "You've got enough, I'm leaving."
There's a thread of a story there. You said that you knew you had to do it. You knew you started off with just the two of you. I'm often asked about frequency, and you said that you were committed to doing it once a week. And often when I'm asked about how often should you send email marketing, the question is tied to a fear. And that fear is, if I send too many email, people will be upset, they'll unsubscribe. Yep. And that is a real fear. I'm not going to lie to everybody and say that, that's not a risk. The bigger risk, though, for the typical small business and nonprofit is not sending regularly enough. And what I see is, as I said, people will start off and they'll have a plan, and maybe they'll email every couple of weeks, maybe once a month, and then they stop. And they take long breaks. The problem of kind of starting email marketing and then stopping and starting and stopping and having long pauses between, unless you're a seasonal business, and even then there's some danger, is that you'll start to make your content irrelevant, meaning that email may hit the inbox, but because it's so infrequent, they're not noticing it. And maybe they get one email, they open it, but then they don't hear from you for a long period of time. What's happening is you're training them to ignore you. And if you train people to ignore you, they'll ignore you. And when it is time for them to buy your product, when it is time for them to need your service, when it's time for them to make a donation, you've lost them because they're not paying attention anymore.
So true. So true. I have to say that apart from breaks at Christmas, I've managed every week for nearly last 6 years. So I take a break over Christmas. Lorna's got a good point. She's one of her goals is email marketing this year. So consistency, and it's true, Lorna. You're building relationships. It is absolutely true. Lorna's got a great business. It's called All About the Sew, and she does sewing stuff and workshops. That's and awesome. Stuff. So good for you, Lorna. Keep trying.
Well, Lorna makes a very good point. It really is all about the relationship. No matter what you're selling, no matter what you're doing, we all are humans, and we buy from humans, and we interact with humans. I know that sounds silly, but the more human you can make your email, the more relationship focused you can make it, the more likely they're going to see your content as relevant. So certainly leading with education and information, useful information for your subscribers, is going to make them continue to regularly open your email. So when that need arises, they're ready. So a great strategy, Lorna.
Definitely. That's what I try and do. I very rarely sell in my emails. I get told off by other people, other consultants, but I like the relationship part of it.
Well, there's a fine balance. It differs from industry to industry and from business to business. But if you can generally make 80% of your marketing, especially your email marketing, educational, useful, relevant, and 20% you're talking about discounts and offers, then what you're doing is you're and I don't know if this is another Americanism, buttering both sides of your bread, meaning that for those that are in the market right now, the sales cycle, they're right at the top. Well, that sales component of the email is going to motivate them. But for the majority of your audience, the ones that are not in a position to buy right now or donate right now, what you're doing is you're engaging them. You're keeping them engaged so that when the time comes, they're ready. And that's what that 80%, that educational component's for.
Yeah. Amazing. So one thing that I talk about when it comes to email marketing, and I think for me it's it's a secret weapon, and I don't think enough small businesses use it, is email automation. Mm-hmm. So can you give people an idea of why they should use email automation?
Sure. There's a few answers I'm going to give you there. So first, we talked about the value of the subscription itself, the value of somebody submitting their email address and giving you permission to email them, right? So let's presuppose a situation where you're soliciting for email addresses on your website, a very common occurrence, right? Well, what do we know about that new subscriber? Well, they're visiting our website or they're visiting our social media page, whatever. They are actively seeking us out. They are interested, obviously, in what we're doing. That's how they found the form to submit their email address, right? So it would behoove us to send something to them as quickly as we can when they subscribe. Now, again, differing in industries and businesses, but it would behoove many to throw an offer in that email, right? We know they're engaged. We know they're interested in us. We know they're interested in our vertical or our industry. Sending them an email almost immediately when they subscribe is a great way to get a conversion because they're active. And so you have the ability through Constant Contact to send a welcome email or emails welcoming them to your subscriber base, but also you have the chance to get a conversion right there by putting out a good offer. The other value of a welcome email is it's setting the stage for that relationship. So even an organization that may not see immediate conversions, it's still a great way to let them know that you are building a relationship with them. Now, additional automation can be when somebody takes a particular action. Mm-hmm. So let's imagine that I have an email. I use pet shops because it's really easy to wrap your head around the idea of segmentation. Segmentation is really just taking people and breaking them up into smaller groups and marketing to them with relevant information to that smaller group. So with a pet shop, dogs, cats, and birds, right? Well, if I am monitoring my email marketing and people click on dog treats, well, what do I know about them? Mm-hmm. Odds are they have a dog. It would behoove me to take those people and put them into a group of people called dogs, dog lovers, dog owners. Now, if I want to take it a step further, I can automate information to that group, right? So I could have an email or a series of email go off about dog care, along with some dog treats and dog foods and dog toys, right? The idea there is I'm making my content relevant, I'm building relationship, and I'm encouraging that conversion or that action because I'm speaking directly to them. That's something that automation can do really, really well. Obviously, the biggest benefit to automation, besides engaging people and converting them, is saving time. Everybody, time starved seems to be my word of the day. Everybody's really busy, right? And if you can leverage automation to save you some time, certainly use it. By tying the power of segmentation and automation together, you're more likely to get people to act. The last piece of this is personalization. You have the ability to actually personalize your email marketing communication so that it says somebody's name or other relevant information. You tie all that together and you're going to increase conversions.
But I'm sold, been sold for a long time. I have any number of, I think I've got about 10 automations live now. So the main one is for when people join my email list. I love the click segment feature. So they join my email list. They get one email that gives them the choice of 3 recipes that they can pick from: a social media one, a marketing one, and an email marketing one. And wherever they click on, they get another 4 emails based off of that.
Brilliant.
So there's that, and then I've got my marketing challenge running at the moment, and all of that is running on automation. There's an email going out every day with a little piece of the challenge, and that will happen until Sunday. So putting it together, as you know, it saves so much time in the long run, because I'm not putting separate emails together and making sure that they're ready to go out. So love automation. I did have a question from one of my LinkedIn contacts who
Sure.
he's a social media consultant, and he's interested in becoming more consistent with his email marketing this year. And his question was, how can you start a drip campaign to increase engagement and conversion off social media onto other sites?
Well, it starts with making sure you're soliciting for email addresses through social. If they're visiting you on social, it would be smart to get email addresses. And if I can touch on that just for a moment, again, not to besmirch social media, it's a valuable marketing tool. But as we learned with Facebook back in, I believe, November, we are at the mercy of these organizations, and you don't own the relationships. You do not own those contacts, and those can be manipulated. And so another big value of email marketing is you own the contact. You always will own the contact. That's your contact. It's in your database. But let's talk about drip campaigns and social media. Make sure as best you can on social media that you're monitoring the kinds of content that people are relating to through likes and through interactions, and creating, a very clever thing you can do is many organizations will solicit for email addresses with one form. It's a catch-all form. Please join our mailing list. What would be smart, especially in social media, is to create unique sign-up forms for unique experiences. Through Constant Contact, you can have a wide variety of sign-up forms. And those sign-up forms can be created around different calls to action or different information, different kinds of services or products. And using what you're monitoring on social media, creating a form unique that would probably appeal to that audience with information that would appeal to what you're noticing is attracting people to your social media presence, and guiding them through a drip campaign of an email, 10 emails, 15 emails, 25 emails with relatable information tied back to what they were connecting to you on social media. It's a way of not just getting conversions, but it's a way of strengthening a relationship because you're listening to them. They're saying through their likes, through their retweets, through their interaction, they're saying that they're interested in this subject matter, while rewarding them with more subject matter around what they originally said they liked is going to increase the relationship, the strength of the relationship you have with them.
Brilliant. Lorna's come back again. She says that she doesn't have name as one of the fields when people sign up, so she hasn't got many names. But she has said, I've thought of using something else instead of their name, but she hasn't thought of anything. And I'm thinking, actually, rather than that, well, you can make filling in your name conditional, so you can make it a conditional field in your sign-up form, Lorna. But my thought was that actually, Lorna, your business would be ideal for a birthday club, no? So you can collect their birthday, and that's how you could use a bit of personalization is to send them something on their special day. But what do you think, Matthew?
Not uncommon, Lorna. A lot of people don't always collect names. So yes, you should solicit for the name and maybe even test out requiring it. But with Constant Contact, we have what's called a fallback for any field. So just to be clear, with Constant Contact, you can personalize an email with any data. It can be their location, it can be the product they're interested in, it can be anything you've collected. With a fallback, what'll happen is that if a field is missing, let's say, for example, you don't have name, first name, you can have it say something else. So for those email addresses that you do have a name, it'll show their name. If it's missing, you can say something like friend, which is, based on what the limited information I know about Lorna's business, that seemed very appropriate. Just calling somebody a friend. It's immediately engaging and setting that stage for the relationship. And regardless, you should try, anybody watching, anybody listening, you should try to leverage personalization as much as you can, because it, again, if there's another word I'm continuously using, it's relationship. It's all about building a relationship with relevant content.
And I'd also say, Lorna, when somebody does sign up, because I even though I make it mandatory for people to give me their first name, it's just easy to hit the space bar, not fill in a name. But often when you see their email address, their first name is within their email address. So I just add it in the first name field of my constant contact list. And so then I have their first name anyway. So yeah, fellow sewist is good.
A fellow sewist, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know her industry all that well, but it seems like there's probably something punny you could use there.
Yeah, I mean, anything that makes them feel part of something that you're offering them, I think, would be great.
Fellow sewing enthusiast.
Yeah. Don't use you old so and so though. That might not go over well.
Actually, I kind of like that. I think that's what I'm going to name my new sewing business here in the States.
You old so and so. So we've talked a lot about email marketing, but I know, like, from my experience, I use Constant Contact for so much more. So if you signed up for my challenge, that mini website I built in Constant Contact, and it was really straightforward to do. So what else can Constant Contact help with, and what sets you apart from other providers?
Let's start with that, because I may make you blush here. What sets us apart is people like you, and all. Constant Contact has been in business for over 25 years, and our value proposition is primarily driven by the support that we give our customers. Marketing, we've just touched a little bit of the knowledge that we share with our customers today, just a little bit. Marketing, I don't want to sugarcoat it for the viewers. Is using Constant Contact easy? Yes, it's actually very easy. It's very intuitive. It's the strategy that might be hard. It's the strategy, the follow through, the follow up, the data analytics. It's what do you do with all of this data and how do you make a decision? That's the challenge. Now, with some of our competitors, they feel it's good enough just to give you a tool, but not give you the education and the support behind marketing that Constant Contact does. The strategy, right? Mm-hmm. We don't just teach people how to use something. We teach people why to use something. And that's really critical. And that's where partners like you come in and make us really shine. Manal is being very sweet and nice about her experience, but it's really valuable to have somebody that lives in your space, that knows the market, that knows the ins and outs of that market. And we have 10,000 small businesses like Manal's all over the world that are helping locals. They're helping people in their area and sharing their expertise in a way that we at Constant Contact can't do by ourselves. And so it's great that you're watching today and you might be interested in email marketing. You're currently using email marketing, but you seriously may want to think about working with one of Constant Contact's partners, because they can take your ideas and make it really shine, really add some marketing experience to help guide you. Now, as far as products, I'll list off a few of my favorite features in Constant Contact besides email marketing and automation. I absolutely adore our social media suite. So with our social media suite, you can post to the big 4 social media platforms. You can listen, monitor what people are saying. It's really, really elegant, and it's included in Constant Contact. It's a great feature. Keep you from having to log into this device and log into that platform. Is log into Constant Contact. And since you're already doing marketing, it's email marketing, it's very easy for you to transition some of that content right into your social posts. Landing pages. So Manal talked about websites, but we also offer landing pages. And landing pages are a great way to have a limited time, one-page little mini website. You can make it look like anything and say anything. It's completely customizable. And what's nice is you don't have to worry about domains and terms of use and anything like that. Constant Contact will just host your content for you. And what's really great about that is perhaps, we talked about the power of linking in an email. Well, perhaps you don't have a place to link to. landing pages are a great solution for that. As it might seem obvious, we have many list growth tools to help you grow your list on social, on websites, and beyond. We have event marketing suite to help you promote events and track registrants. Survey tool, learning more about your customers and about your subscribers helps you be a better marketer. We have a fantastic survey tool, and we have some awesome e-commerce integrations that will help you market to people that have abandoned their cart or bought particular items or taken particular offers, taken advantage of particular offers. And you can even monitor the conversion of your email through e-commerce. You can monitor the conversion of each email. You can see how many new customers and how many people purchase products right in Constant Contact directly related to your email marketing.
That's a really great segue into this question from Jill. The answer is yes.
Yep. So, yeah, as long as you're using a very common, there's several out there, a common e-commerce tool. Yeah, Constant Contact synchronizes with it. You can engage those people.
So we're out of time, and I knew this would happen. I could talk to you all day. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been brilliant hearing from you. Matt and I have known each other for a few years now, and we were just saying as we were going to come on that when I worked at Constant Contact, Matt was supposed to be coming out to the UK, and we would have met in person. And this is as close as we've got to meeting. So it's been absolutely brilliant having you.
It's been a lovely chat, but I would have much rather seen you in person in the UK.
Definitely. So for Jill and anyone else that would like to give it a go, I've just put a link in the chat, in the comments for you to go and try Constant Contact. Now, I believe I did receive an email over Christmas, and I believe that from early January, you will get 60 whole days to try Constant Contact for free. So you can go in and have a look at those tools and just play around. If you need any help, you've got my details. You message me on Facebook or email me. But it's definitely worth having a go. Thank you again, Matt. Selena, I am using StreamYard for this streaming session, which means that I can pop people's comments onto the screen just like that. So StreamYard is the piece of software that I'm using. Thank you again, Matthew. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time, everyone, with another marketing mix. So do join me again and go and try Constant Contact. I can't recommend it enough. I use it all the time, and I have several clients using it as well, and they will love it. So take care and have a good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. Happy New Year, all.